When I think about this bullying concept, and Fishy, this ties into something that you shared on Free Radical Network today, I think at least. It was a Charles Cook piece about the way that the left has kind of done an about-face on the concept of the climate, the negative climate, or the climate of, back when Gabby Giffords got shot by that nut job Jared Loughner, the left was up in arms saying that there's this violent rhetoric coming from the right, and this, I think, is serious bullying going on. They're trying to control what we say. They're trying to control our speech, and they're saying that, we have to change our tone because of the crosshairs that Sarah Palin was using in her campaigning things, talking about what Senate seats were up and stuff that we could impact. And now that we have these two murdered cops in New York City, and some on the right are saying that Al Sharpton has blood on his hands, and Mayor de Blasio does as well, the left is saying, it has nothing to do with the culture of this kind of stuff that's coming out of the protest marches where they have shouted out, what do we want, dead cops, when do we want them now? They've completely flipped from one side of the culture of violence issue to this one where, these protests have nothing to do with it. This language has nothing to do with the murders. I happen to agree with that. That's the point that Charles gets to, is that no, it's not fair to say that Al Sharpton has actual blood on his hands for this. Like, it's unfair to say that Sarah Palin has blood on her hands for the Jared Loughner killings. That kind of flip that's the only thing that I can think of that's close to conservatives bullying the left.
And whether it's bullying or the useful idiots in the crowd letting the school administrators cancel the conservative speaker that they wanted to cancel in the first place, which I agree, Andy, you're correct. It's not that they're giving in to bullies; they're letting the bullies force them to do what they wanted to do anyway. In many instances, the net result is the same: that conservatives end up unable to give commencement speeches. We are unable to make political donations if we want to rise high in any kind of publicly held corporation. The speech suppression is rampant. So many people who actually are conservative refuse to let that be known at their place of business because they're concerned that it'll hurt their career, particularly if they are in any kind of artistic endeavor. Although all of the liberals that we work with are perfectly pleased to talk about their liberal philosophy as a matter of course, because that's not weird, that's just normal. Like, everybody who's normal talks leftist stuff, and only the freaks talk conservative stuff, so you don't want to out yourself as a freak, so you don't speak about the conservative stuff, or whatever it is. We have been bullied into silence. We've been bullied into not calling Hamas a terrorist organization anymore. We've accepted bullying culturally. We even preemptively bully ourselves. If there is one little complaint, we're going to cancel our nativity scene. We're not even going to suggest having a nativity scene on the courthouse grounds like we have for the last 150 years. We're going to move it someplace else this year because maybe somebody might complain. We're preemptively bullying ourselves. And then because we've accepted this submission at the culture level, and that has rolled itself up to politics and now is sort of global. This is the age of the bully. I think it's very true that we're not going to be able to achieve stuff until we can find some way to counter this. And I've never known how to effectively counter a bully. I don't know what really works.
You do it big. You go big, and you have fun with it. Think about the time when, before Rush Limbaugh came along, and the left totally dominated the airwaves in every aspect. Okay, we didn't dominate talk radio back then. And what did Rush do? He came out and mocked them, and had fun with them, and treated them as the funniest thing he had ever seen in his life. And there was just this happiness, this joy in showing how pathetic they were. Okay, you've got to even my liberal dad always told me, you got to bloody the nose of a bully.
Let's make a distinction here, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. When you are talking about taking on the advocates for the left, their clerical class, I guess
Right.
you would say, the people who are the talking point constructors and authors and pushers of those messages, those people are the ones engaging in behavior that needs to be called out as forcefully as possible.
Right, not the person who simply has a disagreement with you and who you're trying to reach. Not the person who has been conditioned to be afraid of conservatives and believe that we want to control their lives. That's the person you need to break down walls with and reach.
Right, and I think that is a distinction that often gets lost when we talk about this, because there is the left, the institutional left that we're talking about, and then there are people who have been left washed. And I don't want our audience to misunderstand that this means that flame wars everywhere on the internet and in real life are the way we should always go. That you need to have situational awareness of with whom you're speaking and where they come from. And that is how you get to that, by asking questions, listening to people. But when you have an institutional member of the left, those are the guys the fangs should be sharpened for, and everything, all the weapons come to bear on those guys, because the people watching, as long as you're not a real asshole about it, I'm going to say it, then they're going to see that destruction of their talking points and see you call them out as ridiculous based on the ridicule that you're doing of the policies that they're advocating. If you're starting to call names, you're not doing anything productive at all. It's about the policies and the mocking of the ideas that are that stupid or that ridiculous. But it's not about being a jerk. It's about being aware of who your audience is and who's watching this exchange as well.
Right. I mean, and once again, let's you got to keep in mind, most people believe that we in the right disapprove of them and want to control their lives, especially young people, right? That's what they think. They think we disapprove of them. We want to tell them how to live their lives. We want to control them. They're wrong, but that's what they think. If you go in and start badgering and beating them down with your talking points, what are you doing? You're backing up their wrongful perception of you. They feel that you're trying to control them in this discussion. Now everything they believe about the right has just been backed up. That's why when we come out and badger and beat up, in those cases, it's very ineffective.
And the most important sentence to me in this whole thing was, after the resistance is transactional concept, he says, that means they can win, bullies can win, by raising the cost of resisting above what the victims are willing to pay.